Android land is a mess right now. Look at these phones. They all look the same. We've pretty much perfected what the glowing rectangle is supposed to be, and that is called the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 5G. Ha! Just joking. Actually not. Really love that phone. You know this. But that phone specifically is just a tiny, joyful corner of what is a disjointed but beautiful universe. Let's break the confusion down. If you're shopping Android in 2020, you're basically buying out of one of 5 possible categories. It's actually 4, but I split the one category into 2 because you gotta give people room to be a little bit crazy. Right at the bottom, on the jump off, you get the phone that you can probably afford to buy cash and will do all of the things that you need it to. Then you get the mid-range phone, and that's like a wild category right now because that price range can go all the way from like 5,000 Rand up to what we're looking at now, 20,000 Rand. But there you're not getting flagship chipsets, you're not getting all the flagship lifestyle features, you're getting like one really good feature that the manufacturer has like spent everything on and threw everything at, and then you're getting some ho-hums and like some glaring omissions. Step up from that, you're getting into flagship territory, and these are the new flagships that come out every single year, and they're just a little bit better than the one that was last year. So if you're in the market for a new phone, like your flagship is like 2-3 years old, maybe 4 years old, and you want the new one, you just pick up the new one of the thing that you already have and you'll be fine. Then you get the flagship that just went wild. It's like the marketing department just got hold of that spec sheet and they just went crazy on the features. So it like differs wildly from what came before it, and some of it really doesn't work. Then you get the crazy experiments that happen just because it's like one manufacturer or a couple of manufacturers just trying to show you what can be achieved. Not that they're like solving any problems at all. It's just like, hey, we can do this now. Let's kick things off in the bargain basement. So here you're shopping sub 3,500 Rand. It's like it can be pretty much anything, but in that sort of price range, this is what you should be expecting. So the Tecno Spark 5, it's as basic an Android phone as you're gonna get. It runs a new-ish version of Android, but importantly, what they've done is they haven't stepped too far away from what Google actually wants to achieve with the platform. So it's a step up from the Android Go phones and like the feature phones that Nokia are still trying to push on people for some obscure reason. And here you are into smartphone territory. What Tecno did wrong was try and cram 5 cameras into this device. So you see, the biggest cost component for a phone is going to be the chipset. So when you're already shopping that low down on the price bracket, you're not going to get a very good chipset. So my advice to manufacturers is like, cameras exist, they are expected to be on smartphones. Just put one really good one there. So you could pretty much substitute any sub 4,000 Rand Android smartphone in years. Further buying advice, bigger is better. Bigger numbers equal better, except for megapixel count. So you're looking at big screen resolutions, you're looking at big batteries, minimum 5,000 milliamp hours. It's going to get you that endurance. Just go big, whatever, go in there, whatever's the biggest, like be it the biggest number on like the processor. Like camera quality, don't even think about it at this point. It has a camera. It has a front-facing camera probably and a rear-facing camera. That's all you need to know about shopping down here. So you remember how I said that for me, the mid-range starts at over 5,000 Rand and the prices vary wildly, and at the very top right now of that price range, you get the Vivo X50 Pro. So this middle slab of like sub 15,000 Rand devices is very competitive. And because it's so competitive, every single manufacturer is trying their very best to differentiate on like 1 or 2 key features. For Vivo on the X50, it is the gimbal camera. So they threw everything into that and then got a couple things wrong throughout the rest of the phone. So this is the reality of this price point. You could buy an iPhone, but you're choosing to buy an Android device. That might be because of the way your workflow happens. There's no judgment here, but like that's the reality. You could buy an iPhone. You can get an SE 2020 down at 10 grand. You can go all the way up to like the edge of the Pros, which like go up to 20 grand. And you can pick up a very good iPhone that can handily beat all of these devices for sheer feature spec and camera quality. So Vivo got the pricing wrong on this device in our market. And I'm going to tell you why. You see, I believe that this was developed as a proper flagship device with the Snapdragon 865 in mind. And then when Qualcomm put out the exceptionally high prices for that 865 5G enabled chipset, Vivo were like, no, and went down a step to the 765G. Importantly, the 765G is not even as powerful as the outgoing 855 and doesn't have the image signal processing of even the Snapdragon 845. This is important because how these phones handle the AI functionality and the hardware acceleration needed to do all of those clever HDR kind of stitching things, that differs between the different Snapdragon chipsets. So try as they might, they sourced a brand new 1/1.7 inch sensor from Sony. All of the phones that came out this year, this is the newest of those new crops of Sony sensors. They put a freaking gimbal in it. But, and this is one of two Vivo X50 Pros that I have, because the first one I thought the camera was broken because it couldn't focus, and I requested a second one, and Vivo South Africa, to your credit, you handily sent me out one, and it had the exact same issues. Outside of that, glaring omissions. If you're going to be charging 19 grand for a smartphone, no wireless charging, no stated water resistance. This may only be important to me, but your charging, your cable charging can be as fast as it wants to be, and this one is hella fast. But if you are not dropping me that wireless charging capability so I can just set it down on my nightstand on the wireless charger at night, you have failed at this price. There is no reason to buy this if you were considering a similarly priced iPhone. Even spec for spec, going up against the LG Velvet. Velvet, at least on some deals, you can get that dual screen case. I'll talk a little bit about that later. And similar, if not better, camera quality because the focusing is a lot better. Like, listen, go to my Instagram, my personal one, Sharpshooters, SHARPSCHUTTRS. I'll link it down at the bottom. I'm not a terrible smartphone photographer. I went to a kids' party where my son was on a slip and slide with other children, and out of the 70 images that I took of him on the slip and slide, 5 of them were in focus. So other compromises you're looking at here. USB Type-C port, not as powerful as something you'll get off of a flagship. Put this into my desk dock or a USB hub where you outputting video via HDMI and you're plugging in other peripherals. Does not have the power to do that. But it does have 5G, which is forward facing for this market. Like if you're buying above 15 grand today in 2020, try and get something that's 5G capable. Just please try. It's going to save you in the long run. You'll be able to hang on to that phone longer and you won't get outdated as quickly. And then again, as in the entry tier, which I didn't actually talk about that much, in the mid-range on Android, you are going to get ads and reminders for features of a phone that you already bought, that you already own. So this thing tries and sells you. That's how they undercut the price. They put all forms of bloatware on these devices to make you use other services and pay for those things so that they can get the kickbacks on that deal side. So unfortunately, Samsung and Huawei both even pull that trick on their highest end devices. But we'll talk about that right now. Buying advice in this mid-range category: get the set of features that most apply to what you need in your life. And then try and get the best battery life. Check out the reviews. Check out the reviews on the camera. I'm really not even going to justify a review for the X50 Pro because it's going to be terrible. Bottom line, camera doesn't work. Maybe in low light sometimes, if it decides to focus, cool, whatever, you can get some spectacular things out of there. But no. So straddling the mid-range and the flagship category is the standard flagship device that each manufacturer puts out. So you can say Galaxy S series, LG G series, LG V series, Galaxy Note series, Huawei P series, Huawei Mate series, like all of those devices, RIP LG G series, all of those devices, and the new one that came out for the year. So this is the Galaxy Note 9. It was the last great standalone Note phone because it gave you all of the features in one single device. Yes, there were little ceramic back ones, and there was like a 512 gig storage one, but it was like you bought the Note and you got the Note, which is very unlike what happens now. There's a Note Ultra and a Note Normal, and then there's a 5G one and a 4G one, and just get the Note 20 5G. This is what I'm talking about. Just get that standard one that has all of the features that you need. So you're the user, you on a contract, you're getting into your second year, you need to upgrade. It's fine. It's totally fine to just get the new one. It really is. There are certain years where the manufacturer kind of craps the bed, like Samsung did in the Note 10, where they changed too much without changing enough. Like they didn't alter the camera system enough. Yeah, so buying advice on this end of the market, just get the new one. If you are at the end of your contract or your phone is broken and you can't afford to go flagship, just get the update. The LG V60 ThinQ is actually kind of the best in this market because it gives you that massive battery, massive screen, great cameras, and that quad DAC. Or just get the Galaxy Note 20 5G. So every once in a while, a manufacturer will make something or do something with its flagships that's kind of a departure of what happened before. Not like we're just gonna change something small. I'm talking about like going all in, giving it a dual screen, taking away all the marquee features of that series, like the rest of the G8 series, G8S and the G8 standard, had a fingerprint sensor on the back and gave you that LG Z cam, that time of flight sensor on the front. It gave you secure face unlock, vein ID, and those like air gesture things. Sidebar, I received a fully working version of the dual screen attachment for the G8X ThinQ, and it was a transformative experience. Also, the G8S and G8X both received the Android 10 updates in South Africa, so the full screen gestures are there. This is actually, for me, even right now, if you on the fence of like getting or going all in on a 5G device, if like the phones aren't there that you want for an LTE phone, get this. But sometimes you gotta just go on the ride with the manufacturers when they get a little bit crazy. Yes, it is still beta, this whole dual screen concept, and the apps aren't ready for it, but at least you have two screens instead of just one big dumb one that an app doesn't know what to do with. And if you're not feeling that dual screenness, you can just take it out and you have a normal, perfectly functional phone, and you have this when you need it. This should show you what I'm talking about. Apple wins because it gives that software update for like 5 years, 6 years into the future. An Android 10 update that just did something small, like do the gesture navigation, completely transformed my experience on this device. Breathed new life into those premium specs from last year and made it a competitive alternative to what is on the market in 2020. Software updates, they matter. And that brings us to the star attraction, the absolutely bonkers Samsung Galaxy Z Fold2. So this is just purely Samsung flexing on everybody, showing them what is capable in 2020. You have a touchscreen that can fold, and that is incredible. There's one interaction that completely blows my mind every single time. You get an email, you view it on the tiny, tall display, or you're scrolling through your Twitter feeds and you see a link, and you click on the link, and it takes you to a website or to a YouTube video, or you're opening the attachment, which can be a Word file or a picture, and then you go through and it appears on the big screen. and you can now like sit back and you have all of this real estate to deal with. That is incredible. Every other time though, this is a horrible phone and a bad way to spend 50 grand. You get half a phone and half a tablet, and the apps don't know what to do with it. The YouTube app, for instance, is just one big blown up smartphone app. Is this a great device? Yes, because it has the cameras from the Note 20. Because this hinge is still confounding to the mind. Really good premium finish. I don't even care that it's fragile. I don't even care that you worry about taking this thing to the beach. Sort out the app support for this, and that applies to all Android manufacturers who are trying these weird experiments like the LG Wing. Like, yeah, cool, do it, charge a premium for it. This is what can be achieved. I understand, but we have perfected the candy bar smartphone, the glowing rectangle. That is the expectation you have put in people's minds. This does not solve a problem. This is just innovation for the sake of it. Innovation for me is an invention that is being applied to a specific solution in an innovative way. Innovative there means it hasn't been used in that way before. It's a novel way of solving that problem. This doesn't solve a problem. This creates problems because it's too heavy, it's too bulky, and it gives you half experiences of each form factor that it's trying to present to you in one cohesive package. The software's not there. Go look at it in the shop, like feel it. Like if you have the money, if you have 50k to throw away, 47,000 Rand actually, sure, buy it to say that you had it. But don't think that this is any better than what you're getting out of a standard phone. Maybe when there's an S Pen and I can sit here and like do notes on the screen, then it will make more sense to me. Then I'll be willing to put up with a lot of the compromises. Like I'm willing to put up with the size and the weight of a Note phone because it has a S Pen, because it has those cameras in a great form factor. And I can plug it in, turn it into like a desktop experience. You can do the same with this. But yeah, there's too many compromises here, too many things I have to think about after I've already spent 50,000 Rand. How am I going to handle this? I can't take this everywhere. Some of my interactions are not going to be great. I can't post Instagram stories from a 50,000 Rand device. No. So that's my take on Android in 2020. My buying advice is look at your budget, look at your needs, find a device that meets both of those. Shop older. Shop last year's flagships. Shop second-hand phones. But if you want the new and shiny and you can afford it, look at your needs. Look what you want. Look at the reviews. Don't shop on the promise of something that will happen, because it most likely will never happen. Yes, Samsung has been doing very good on improving all of their older devices, like the S10, getting all of the Note 20 software features, like the Pro video mode now that can do the Bluetooth headset recording. Yes, I'm here for it. But if you want to go support Huawei, for instance, make sure you have that Microsoft 365 account. And you can even take that account and you can use it with your Samsung device, and you can have like OneDrive be your de facto cloud storage. There are software bridges to fill in all of the gaps. But you should really consider an iPhone, to be completely honest. At the same money, iPhone 12s are going to come in at that 17 grand for the normal one, and like the Pro is going to come in at the 20 grand mark. You should be buying that. That is a much more cohesive ecosystem that you're buying into. It's been thought out, it's been planned, it's been strategized. That's why they don't have all the new shiny things like the refresh rates and all of those things, because there's a strategy involved there. Not just, oh, this is new, put it in a phone. It builds into the entire idea. And Android, because it's so disjointed, you're not going to have that same experience. I love Android devices because I have specific use cases. I love using styluses on phones. I love turning my phone into like a desktop machine. I love bringing my Microsoft 365 stuff so that I can run that instead of like investing in another company's cloud solutions. I like that flexibility. I like the cameras, but I prefer the simplicity of the iPhone. And I believe that most people would be a lot happier there. But if you're shopping Android, man, there you got it. But that's just my opinion. I'm Lindsay. I'll catch you in the next one.